Greetings, superb people. This is Lanita Superb, and we are going to be videoing the day 2 of the SupHerb Spring Cleanse Event. And I was, yesterday when I did the live stream, I was excited about um, doing my first actual live stream. And I liked how I enjoyed how it turned out. So what we are going to go over today is going to be the second, number 2 of the intro basics for the Superb Lifestyle Transition course. And I had planned on being outside. Only thing with that is that because I'm using a Wi-Fi device, sometimes it tends to cause what do you call it, lapsing or buffering and such. So I think I may stay indoors. However, I think the lighting and obviously the ambiance is much better outdoors. And when I get a moment here, I will probably do that. But I'm going to start off first. Since I have the opportunity to do such, I'm going to sit down this device, and then that will allow me to be able to be a little more comfortable. Let me close the door. I think that back glare, yeah, that helps out a lot. Awesome. Great. So thank you for joining me. And this is day 2 of the SupHerb Spring Cleanse Event. And as I mentioned, I am Lanita Superb. My intention is as a vibnamic being, I intend to style our life with ancient, sustainable energy techniques, which assist I got the actual words, what I wrote down, but I'm all about trying to do it off of memory. Um, Basically, I intend to style our life with ancient, sustainable energy techniques to maintain wellness, which activate the superb being within to form your authentic fitness model and heal yourself. And that is basically what a superb lifestyle transition is. It's basically about you getting the knowledge that you need to recognize your authentic wealth, which for each of us is something different. We all want the same thing ultimately, which is optimum health or overall happiness and joy and wealth. But how that is, how we all go about accomplishing that, or basically just living our lifestyle, that is what makes a difference. So I'm glad I've got this here. Let me flip to, because this is good for my notes. So basically, basic number 2 is all about keeping your records. And what do I mean by keeping your records? Basically, I'm gonna see how many times I say basically. It's about, you know how when you go or you've been to the doctor or a physician and they always ask you, to fill out this form, and they basically want to know your symptoms, your basic uh, measurements and things like your weight, your body size, and sometimes they get a little more detailed depending on the type of doctor that you're seeing or physician you're seeing. They may want to have a little bit more in-depth information about you. And that information will be analyzed, and that's how they actually are capable of figuring out what is causing your issue, and therefore they can go ahead and either prescribe a treatment or something of that nature. So basically, what I am going to share with you is information on how you can become your own doctor. Yes, That's it. This information, of course, it's kind of contradictory because some people are so confused with the idea of having the knowledge and the ability plus the know-how, the knowledge and the trust to actually come to a conclusion or some sort of analysis or diagnosis of themselves so that they can figure out what is going on within their being. Ultimately, if we think about it, that's exactly what we all should be doing. Because who else better to tell you about yourself, than you? You're with yourself 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You've been there with you ever since your birth into this existence. So why would you rely on someone else to tell you about, what's going on with you? You know what's going on with you. You know what you're thinking about, what you've been through, what you've seen, how you feel, what you eat, um, what time you go to bed, what clothing you wear, the places you visit, what you've learned, how you interact with other beings. So the idea of being your own doctor really isn't that far fetched. It's just not obvious because there's been so much information pushed on you about wanting or allowing someone else to have more control and more power over you. So that's all part of the deception and the fraud going on within the system. And if you are capable of actually recognizing this very point that you have the power to control yourself or navigate your own lifestyle or take charge of your vessel. It's just like we're like people, a lot of people, they talk about the traffic and such. Well, everyone nowadays tends to have their own vehicle. Everyone's got their own car or truck or van or whatever. And that's because most people want to be in control. One of my favorite things to do is drive, and I love to drive. I've traveled from New Jersey to Las Vegas several times, and it's a joy to be able to be in the car, and you control the vehicle, you operate it, and you are the one with the power to operate this vehicle. You're making it do what it's doing. That's why, like they say, oh, it's a reckless driver. It's not necessarily that they're reckless. They just happen to be maybe better skilled at knowing how their vehicle operates. So that's what this second intro basic of keeping your records is going to assist you with. It's going to help you better understand how you are capable of operating your vessel and what you need to do in order to get that vessel to optimum health. Now, the one of the items that I created a few years back was the Now Notebook. I created the Now Notebook as a tool to be used with the SupHerb Lifestyle Transition course. And the Now Notebook is just that. It's a notebook. I added some inspirational photos and a couple of recipes and things like that and pictures and stuff of my life. And I shared those within some of the pages inside of the notebook. And the purpose of that is for you to still be present with yourself and then also be reminded of what it is that you are actually attempting to achieve. And so the pictures and the quotes and things inside the notebook are randomly in there so that cosmically your energy, when you get to a certain page, I believe that it will actually it'll be something that you needed to see or read or view at that moment when you are, using the notebook and keeping your notes. So I do have the notebook around. I'll get it out and show you, but on my website, the shop page, it's basically the first thing that you scroll down to is the Now Notebook. And also with the purchase of the Now Notebook, you actually get the videos that go with the course to the Superb Lifestyle Transition. So that's the and it's really not that expensive. It's under $100, and the course itself is actually 16 weeks long. So right now, though, I'm only introducing to you the basics, and we're only at number 2 of the 9 basics. And then those 9 basics actually are more deeply expanded into once you get into the 16-week course, the full Superb Lifestyle Transition course. But I'm going to give you the details for the notebook and the purpose of the book. And I'm kind of going to be giving you a lot of the information that actually goes with the what's going to be in the full course. So here we go. One of the main studies that I learned about with taking control of yourself is to actually spend more time getting to know yourself, right? So sometimes people talk about, oh, you need to study yourself, or for instance, in a religious book, some of them talk about, study yourself. And that's basically what I did when I had my lifestyle transition back in 2012, 2013. I was going through some crazy stuff, and I started seeking the assistance of multiple religious books, and they all pretty much told me, from what I got, my message was the same thing, that I needed to study myself. So that's what I started doing. I started studying myself. I said, you know what? The heck with all this other stuff that everybody's telling me, or someone told me before, or who said this, that, or the other thing. So I decided to take my life into my own hands. And that's why, like I said, that's why I ultimately created the Now Notebook, was for me to take control. And I actually used my notebook when I first published it. I ordered it, and then I went ahead and used it for the next, I think it was about 6 months or so. It actually lasted, the pages inside. And I still use it now to reference, because it shows me what I was going through at the very beginning of this transition to becoming superb. And I didn't know what I was going to become or where it was leading me. I just knew that I wanted to have better health, and I knew that by keeping a journal and writing my notes, it would get me there. So the number one items that you want to put in your notebook, and you should probably do this on a day-to-day basis. That's what I teach in my course. You make one change for every day, and that way it's not overwhelming. So for instance, your first week, let's say you order the Now Notebook and you get the course. Your first week, you're actually going to want to just get familiar and comfortable with you remembering to write down in your journal information. And you will actually be the one determining what you're going to write down. And I suggest you start off with, quote unquote, the basics. For instance, what time you wake up. So the first day you get the journal, day number 1, literally just write down what time you wake up. And then you can remember, hopefully, to write down what time you went to sleep. Now, most people say, oh, that's really simple. Great. So then go ahead and add some more to it. Instead of just writing down what time you wake up, write down what time you woke up, and hopefully you will remember what you were dreaming about. So write down what you were dreaming about. That way, that'll get you connected with your inner self, because when you come out of resting or sleep, you're so connected with that that frequency of being asleep that your mind needs time to transition into the physical realm. So if you do it as soon as you wake up, that offers you the opportunity to be able to come back later, and that way you can analyze what your connection was or what you were attempting to tell yourself in the message known as dreaming when you first wake up. So that's a big part of it. Now, let me get some water here. Hold on. Take a sip of water. Yes, so also I have not mentioned, but today it is day 2 of the spring cleanse. But it's also day 1 of my water fast, which is going to be a 14-day water fast. So I will do my best to continue to share with you what I'm going through once I get past day 8, because the spring cleanse event is only until the 31st. And then I will continue to do my own water fast and keep you all posted via either my blog on the website SupHerb Blends or here on YouTube. So day 2, back to the Now Notebook and you keeping your records together. Your day 2 is kind of like what I just said, keeping your records. Now that you've had a taste of what you needed to do first, you can go into this more with some more intent. So now that you've written down your dream and what time you went to sleep, you can proceed to write down what you eat and what time you eat. Also, you want to add in what you drink, because drinking is the same thing as eating. And then also snacks. So a lot of times people say, oh, I'm not going to write it down. Yeah, you need to know if you had a piece of chewing gum, if you eat a piece of candy, if somebody gives you a couple of potato chips or something, if you happen to, if you take a shot of espresso, if you actually, go out to eat, what did you actually order when you went out to eat? Because a lot of times people will leave that off and not include that, but that's a part of your daily consumption. So for your second day, you can get a little more detailed and add in those items. And then from there, that, like I said, because it can become overwhelming if you attempt to do everything in the first 2 days. So this is what I've learned over the years, even with my own journal. When I first started, I told myself I was going to write everything down. It was just really, really, really extremely difficult. Even though I also suggest too that you carry your notebook and a pen with you all day long, no matter where you go. Even if you go in the bathroom, take it with you in the bathroom. Why? Because there may be a chance that you might need to write something down. You get a thought and, may sound a little gross, but you get what I'm saying. So the next day, after you have gotten better at taking records of what you're eating, now it may be beneficial for you to add in your activities. Like, for instance, say, you wake up in the morning, so you're going to be writing down what time you woke up in the morning and dream. Okay, it can take only maybe 3 minutes. Not that much time when you've got 24 hours in a day. 3 minutes, just write down. Even if you have to do a brief description of what it is, you don't have to get as detailed unless you want to. So now day 3, you can add in your emotions. For instance, how do you feel before you eat something? How do you feel after you eat something? And like I said, if you're carrying your notebook with you every day and everywhere you go, this will allow you the opportunity to put that information in immediately. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks. Don't get concerned about all that. Why? Because this is about you. You are taking care of you. You're doing this to heal yourself. And that's a big part of what a lot of people have an issue with, is that they're concerned, oh, well, If I go to eat with friends, what will I look like if I just pull out my notebook and start writing down what I ate after I eat? You'll look like someone who's writing down what they ate after they eat. That's what you'll look like, point blank. You don't have to try and hide or cover up what you're doing. If someone asks you what you're doing, tell them what you're doing. Just like anything else, you go out with a group of friends and you're all eating food and someone inquires, "Hey, what you got? What'd you have there?" You tell them what you ate, right? Well, why writing in the notebook? Why is that any different? So it sounds funny, but it's an interesting concept when you really think about the fact that you're concerned about what someone else thinks about what you're doing. You're doing what you're doing because that's what you want to do. Okay, so yeah, so like I said, the next day you incorporate a little bit more, like I said, and you write down your emotions or your feelings, before and after you eat. And then you can also incorporate, like I mentioned in the bathroom, you can also incorporate what goes on in the bathroom. And with the intention that you're not really going to be showing anyone or no one's going to be reading this as a novel. Remember, this is for you so that you can analyze yourself. And what goes on in the bathroom has a lot to do with your lifestyle and possibly some issues that you may be having with ill symptoms or disease or disease, and discomfort in your body. So that whole process tells you a lot. And a lot of people, it's a big, what do you call it? It's a taboo to talk about, bathroom duties, but that's where the process of, I guess you would say, I guess it's kind of keeping you from the truth. That's when you should pay attention. Is okay, well, why is that such something that people don't want to talk? Because it's very important for you to know what's going on with that. And you will get to understand this once you start doing it. You'll see why it's important for you. So now let's say, for instance, we go into the fourth day and you want to add in, I think I was saying, add in some of your actual activities and what you do. Like, for instance, if you go to work, write down that you went to work. You drove in your car and, you were at work for however long. And if, for instance, if you do any special activities at work that may be of importance, like say, for instance, you're a construction worker, you may want to say that, hey, you had to lift X amount of, bricks, or you had to move some wood, or, because that's going to calculate into basically your overall fitness and your exercise, because technically that's exercise and you're moving your body, you're getting your muscles going, and that can be calculated in later on when you're doing your analysis. So now we've got also, you may want to put in, let's say if you have a pet or a dog or something, if you go walk your dog or if you play with your pet, that's an activity that can be included in your journal. And it's very important to put that in there because that shows that you are actually interacting with nature and your environment. And then, of course, maybe how the animal made you feel before and after you interacted with them, or how you felt. Um, Also, children, people with children, write down, hey, I spent, 2 hours playing baseball with my son, or, I went out and played basketball with my daughter, anything of that nature. Or we went to the library and got some books. That's an activity that you can write in your journal, and it will be useful for analysis later. So now the next day, I think it's the fifth day now, you would actually be up to writing what time you wake up, your dreams, what food you're eating, what you're consuming, what times you go to the bathroom, or when you go to the bathroom, what that incorporates, how you're feeling about yourself before and after you do certain activities, and then also socializing. So that's a lot of stuff being written down after 5 days. And then the idea, once you get to that point, is to continue to be consistent. And then you will also get to see certain things that you are noticing that you keep track of, or that you like to keep track of, or that you don't like to keep track of, you know. So that's the process that you go through for the first week when you get your notebook or when you start the course. You actually do not make any changes at all the very first week, and it's just going to be specifically about you, what you've been doing in your lifestyle. And then when you get to the end of that, that is going to be what actually aids you with commencing or with going ahead with this lifestyle transition course. So you want to do that first. And that also calculates into a cleanse. Now, if you don't do the course personally with me, you can utilize this information of keeping your own records so that you can do your own cleanse. Why? Because, like I said, that's the most important part of a cleanse. You need to know what's going on and what you've been doing in order for you to analyze what you then need to do to move forward with your cleanse. Just like a doctor would do. You go in and you give them all this information, and then they come back with some sort of analysis about what's going on with your body, and then how you can proceed forward with whatever goal it is that you're trying to achieve. Same thing. Like I said, this is about becoming your own doctor. And ultimately, the Superb Lifestyle Transition course, that's what it's offering you. Because now that I've been doing this since 2012, that's when I first started getting into the herbs and paying attention to my health and stuff, after I had a big ordeal with the medical industry and corporate America and such and forth, so forth, with the governing system. And that's how I got into all of this. And once I actually took charge of my own records and health, I no longer needed a doctor. I have not been sick or needed to go see a doctor or had an illness in over 5 years. And that's actually quite amazing. The moment that I would feel, a tickle or something in the back of my throat, like, like when you start to catch a cold, and when someone says, "Oh, I'm starting to catch a cold," well, what's the first thing most people do? We used to be taught, most thing the first people would do, we used to be taught, go drink some orange juice. Go, and then what's the purpose of the orange juice? The orange juice is for the vitamin C. And what's the vitamin C going to do? The vitamin C is supposed to help your immune system. Well, why don't we cut out all of that stuff and go straight into assisting the immune system all the time? And like I said, that is why you're keeping your records. When you see what you're doing, you will know what actually caused this ill symptom, such as a scratchy throat or a cough or such. You'll know because you're writing your journal, you're writing down your notes. So this moment that you start to feel an ill symptom, you could say, "Hey, what was I doing the past, a couple of days or the past week?" And ultimately, it'll calculate to that being the cause of what now you call catching a cold. And basically, you've just compromised your immune system for over a certain span of time, whether it be a couple of days or a few months. If you keep your notes and you go back and read over them, which I will explain to you in the transition course how to do that, you will be able to see that, hey, this is something I'm doing. I need to change this. When you make that statement, "I need to change this," everything within you, your whole being is now, okay, we need to change this. And then you will need to move forward with making changes. But you would not know all this had you not kept your records, had you not been keeping track of what's going on. Or if you had given that power and responsibility to someone else, because they're not going to keep all the details that you would keep. You know what I'm saying? You got your book with you 24/7, 24 hours a day. Granted, you're going to be asleep for some time. But the idea is for you to take control and to be able to, just do what you need to do for yourself when you need to do it. You don't have to wait for someone. You're with yourself all the time. Just like I needed to drink some water, I drink some water. I don't need someone to tell me that I need to drink water. That's kind of like what the system does. It's like they tell you when to go to sleep. They tell you when to go to work. They tell you when you go to eat lunch. They tell you how long your break is. They tell you what clothing to wear. You know what I mean? They tell you how to wear your hair, or how not to wear, your hair. And that's what it comes down to when you are able to keep track of your own records. You're doing this for yourself because that's what you want to do. So, what else can I add to this? When you finally get the hang of writing in your journal, it may take you may not get it the first week, but that's why I, I, I explain to people, I was going to say teach, but that's why I explain that if you do one thing at a time, it's not going to be overwhelming. Why? Because when you're doing this, you are going to have to, I guess, replace what you would have normally done instead of writing in your notebook. And some people, I know a lot of people still watch the television. I don't watch any television. And if I do watch television, it's because I'm in the process of socializing or spending time with someone else and they just happen to have the television on. I don't go and turn the television on. I don't have a television. Don't look at that stuff. And sometimes I will look at it for the purpose of analyzing, observing what other people are actually, tainting their minds with, because it may be beneficial for you. The whole point about this taking control and taking care of yourself is also being able to observe what you do and don't need. So you get to learn some things by watching other people as well. So it's like, you may see someone else react a certain way. It's like, yeah, I've done that before. Why? And if you observe someone, you may be able to figure out, oh, that's why I did, whatever it is. So it's just a matter of how you perceive what you're observing and then being able to use that for yourself. Yes, kind of cool. Anyway, so what else can I mention about the number two? Keeping your records. Yeah, so another thing with the keeping the records is you don't really have to show anybody these records. So you can get as personal and as detailed as you want to be. And another thing is you get to put your own style to these notes. Now with my notebook, I have a little signature, um, like a little signature initial thing that I put down before I start, kind of like my label or my logo when I write. And then usually I'll have the date for the day, and then I'll put down the time. And I don't specifically want to keep track of the time and the date, but it's a useful tool when you have to come back and analyze something. So that's one of the things I suggest that you keep track of, is put down the date and time. And then also too, since like I said, this is your journal, put down how you're feeling. I used to sometimes put down what I was wearing, what clothing I had on, where I was at, whom I was with, um, and what we were doing. And then ultimately, at some point in time, I would do that everywhere I went. I had my notebook in the vehicle. Before we pulled up to wherever we were going, I would write down, okay, I'm here. This is who I'm with. I'm doing this. And I feel excited about, going on this hike. After I come back from the hike, if I didn't take it with me, because it may be a hike that I can't carry a notebook, I'll get back in the vehicle after I drink some water, you know, do a little bit of stretching, write down, hey, oh, I feel great, or I have a slight pain in my calf, or maybe, maybe you feel some sort of energy, or I feel like I can breathe more now, just anything that is of interest to you and that you feel that may be beneficial for you to write down in your journal. And like I said, you personalize it. So this is for you. And like I said, after you do this for a few weeks, a couple of months go by, you will notice a pattern. And the purpose of that pattern is for you to be able to go back through your notes and make changes to whatever it is you need to make changes to. Yeah. Number 2, keeping your records. I'm sharing with you the 9 intro basics for the Superb Lifestyle Transition course, which is basically you getting control of your life and mastering yourself. So even if you don't do a course, even if you don't do a cleanse, it could still be beneficial for you to keep records of your lifestyle and what you're doing, just so that you have it. And I think with that, I'm pretty much, I feel I'm done. I don't feel anything else needs to be said. I was planning on going for an hour. Oh, I do have to mention that tomorrow, the 26th, Tuesday, I will be doing a short interview with Dr. Jennifer Daniels, and she actually has some great information about cleansing and the medical system and how you can also be able to decipher things that's going on as far as like with your doctor or physicians and pharmaceuticals, so that you can get better with your health and also be able to possibly find a better doctor and be able to weed out all of the BS. So this is Tuesday, March 26th. It's going to be 1 p.m. Mountain Time. And I'm going to actually be live with YouTube from 11:11. So you'll be, because I'm going to need to go through number 3. Number 3 intro basic for the Superb Lifestyle Transition course. And then that will lead up to the interview with Dr. Daniels. So tune in tomorrow, like I said, March the 26th, here on this YouTube channel, Lenita Superb. And we will get some information from an actual doctor, a real doctor, and then she will also explain to you what's been going on with her life and her career and how she came about coming coming to know certain methods and things that are going on that will help us get to our goal of optimum health. Thank you for watching. This is Lenita Superb. Much appreciation. A rose in perfection shines bright.